The rain was coming down in sheets as I drove home, the wipers on my old Ford working overtime. I'm Torin, 44, a mechanic by trade, and after a long day wrestling with engines and exhaust fumes, all I wanted was a hot shower and a quiet evening with my wife, Elara. We lived in a small town outside of Asheville, North Carolina, a place where everyone knew everyone else's business, but we liked it that way. Or at least I thought we did. Elara was a veterinarian, a kind, compassionate woman who loved animals more than people sometimes. We'd been married for 15 years, and while the spark wasn't as fiery as it once was, I thought we were happy, comfortable at least. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our shared history, or so I believed. I pulled into the driveway, the tires crunching on the gravel. The house was dark except for a single light in the living room. She must be reading, I thought. I unlocked the door and stepped inside, the smell of pot roast hitting me like a warm hug. "Hey honey, I'm home," I called out, hanging my jacket on the coat rack. Silence. Elara. I walked into the living room, and that's when I saw it. Her purse was on the coffee table, open, and sticking out from under a magazine was a piece of paper, a receipt, from a motel, the Starlight Inn, a place known more for its hourly rates than its stellar reviews. My heart started to pound in my chest. This couldn't be happening, not to me, not to us. I grabbed the receipt, my hands shaking. The date was yesterday. The amount was for 3 hours, 3 hours. My mind raced, trying to come up with some logical explanation, some reason why my wife would be at a seedy motel. Maybe she was helping an animal, maybe she was meeting a client, but deep down I just knew I needed to find Elara. I checked the bedroom. Empty. The bathroom, empty. Then I remembered she sometimes worked late at the clinic. I grabbed my keys and headed back out into the storm, the rain plastering my hair to my forehead. The drive to the clinic was a blur. My thoughts were a tangled mess of disbelief, anger, and a profound sense of betrayal. When I arrived, the clinic was dimly lit, but I could see Elara's car in the parking lot. I parked next to it and walked inside, my heart pounding in my ears. The receptionist was gone, and the only sound was the hum of the fluorescent lights. I walked down the hallway to Elara's office and gently pushed the door open. And there she was. But she wasn't alone. She was with Cyrian, a local real estate agent, a guy I'd known casually for years. They were embracing. His hands were all over her, and she was kissing him back, her eyes closed, a look of pure bliss on her face. I stood there frozen, unable to speak, unable to move. It was like a scene from a movie, a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Finally, I found my voice. "Elara," I croaked, the sound barely audible. They both jumped, startled. Cyrian stepped back, his face flushing red. Elara stared at me, her eyes wide with panic. "Torin, what are you doing here?" she stammered. "What am I doing here? What are you doing here, Elara?" I yelled, my voice cracking with emotion. "I found the receipt, the motel." "What the hell is going on?" Elara's face crumpled. "Torin, I can explain," she said, her voice trembling. "Explain? Explain what? Explain how you've been betraying me, lying to me, making me look like a fool." I was shaking with rage, my fists clenched at my sides. Cyrian, the coward, just stood there silent, his eyes darting back and forth between Elara and me. "Torin, please, let's talk about this at home," Elara pleaded, taking a step towards me. "No," I said, my voice cold and hard. "We'll talk about it here. Now, tell me, Elara. How long has this been going on?" She hesitated for a moment, then looked down at the floor. "A few months," she mumbled. "A few months," I repeated, incredulous. "A few months, and I had no idea. I trusted you, Elara. I loved you." "I do love you, Torin," she said, her voice choked with tears. "Then how could you do this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "I don't know," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry." Sorry wasn't enough. Sorry couldn't erase the image of her in Cyrian's arms. Sorry couldn't heal the gaping wound in my heart. I turned to Cyrian, who was still standing there like a deer in headlights. "You," I said, pointing my finger at him, "stay away from my wife. If I ever see you near her again, you'll regret it." He didn't say a word. He just nodded, his face pale with fear. I turned back to Elara, my eyes filled with tears. "I'm done," I said. "I'm done with you. I'm done with this marriage." I walked out of the clinic, leaving Elara standing there sobbing. The rain had stopped and the moon was peeking through the clouds, but the world seemed dark and empty. I drove home, packed a bag, and left. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay there. Not anymore. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and heartbreak. The divorce was messy, as they always are. Elara tried to apologize, to explain, but I couldn't bring myself to listen. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I found out later that Cyrian was married too, and his wife, Wynona, had left him as soon as she found out about the affair. Karma, I guess. I moved into a small apartment in downtown Asheville, a far cry from the cozy house we'd shared. I threw myself into my work, fixing cars, trying to forget. But the memories kept coming back, haunting me in my dreams. I saw Elara everywhere I went, her face etched with guilt and regret. But I couldn't forgive her. Not yet, anyway. One day, about 6 months after the divorce, I got a call from Wynona. She wanted to meet to talk. I was hesitant at first, but curiosity got the better of me. We met at a coffee shop, a neutral ground. Wynona was a beautiful woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, but I could see the pain in her face, the same pain I felt in my own heart. "I know what you're going through," she said, her voice soft. "Cyrian, he's done this before. I should have known better." We talked for hours, sharing our stories, our pain, our anger. We found solace in each other's company, a shared understanding of what it was like to be betrayed. We started meeting regularly, for coffee, for dinner, for walks in the park. We became friends, then something more. I found myself falling in love with Wynona, her warmth, her compassion, her strength. She was everything Elara wasn't. One evening, as we were sitting on my porch watching the sunset, Wynona turned to me and said, "Torin, I know this might be too soon, but I think I'm falling in love with you." I smiled, my heart swelling with happiness. "I think I'm falling in love with you too, Wynona," I said, taking her hand in mine. We started dating and things moved quickly. We were both ready for a fresh start, a new beginning. We got married a year later in a small ceremony with our closest friends and family. It wasn't the life I had planned, but it was the life I had now, and I was happy, happier than I'd been in years. As for Elara, I heard she moved away to another state. I don't know what she's doing now, and I don't really care. I've moved on. I've found happiness again. And that's all that matters. But sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet and still, I think about Elara. I wonder if she regrets what she did. I wonder if she ever thinks about me. And I wonder if she knows that sometimes the greatest revenge is simply moving on and finding happiness without them.